Hello and welcome everyone to my latest video, this time focusing on acquiring dies in Final Fantasy XIV. As you may have heard, the release of DAWNTRAIL will have a new die system, which is going to be introducing second die channels on all gear, and they'll be slowly adding all of the old gear in the game as well to have die channels. This is an exciting change because it's going to allow us to have even more personalization with our Warriors of Light, but with that being said, dies are already pretty expensive. And it's not going to get any better when they add this change. This video is going to show some of the best methods to get those dies without having to spend all your GIL, as well as a method you may not know about to get some of the most expensive dies in the game. Let's get into it. First, we're going to talk about some of the more basic dies. These can be acquired from vendors throughout the world, whether it's paying GIL in cities like Limsa, Gridania, and Ul'dah, or there are vendors that sell die for various currencies, such as Beast Tribes, as well as the Skybuilder's Scripts vendor. It's worth mentioning that the Skybuilder vendor sells some pretty exclusive dies that could only be obtained from the Fall Guys event, which is now gone, and it is worthwhile if you need to save up on things like Pearl White, Metallic Brass, and Gunmetal Black. It's worth mentioning that a lot of these dies are actually pretty solid, as most people tend to gravitate towards things like Pure White and Jet Black. I do too, but a lot of these more offshoot dies that are acquired from random means are actually really good at making some good outfits. But when DAWNTRAIL comes out, you won't actually have to worry about acquiring these because they're pretty easy to get. The next means of acquisition with dies we're going to talk about are dies that are acquired through crafting. About half the dies in the game can be crafted, and the recipes are really low level. Any crafter can make dies, and this begins at level 30 or so. If you don't want to buy the materials yourself, you can get your gatherers up to level 28, but for the most part, the ingredients can be purchased on the market board, as well as the dies themselves. I don't suspect that these dies are going to be fluctuating too much in price once DAWNTRAIL comes out, but it's still worth mentioning that you can get a lot of really nice dies yourself just from crafting. Next, I want to talk about venture coffers. Venture coffers are an item that you can obtain from your retainers, specifically from the quick venture option, which will take you 1 hour to complete per set. You can send all of your retainers out on quick ventures if you choose. And a venture coffer is a rare drop that will appear from any of them, whether they're a crafter, gatherer, or a DOW or DOM job. Once you open these venture coffers, you have a chance of a whole bunch of loot, but the one we're looking for are going to be the more expensive dies like Pure White, Jet Black, and any other die that happens to be high priced at the moment. In preparation for DAWNTRAIL, I highly recommend stocking up on these venture coffers because prices are going to skyrocket. I want to build upon those more exclusive dies like the Pure White and the Jet Black. Those are actually sold on the MOG station, believe it or not, where you pay real money to get them due to how rare they are. It's worth mentioning that if you do buy them with real life money on the MOG station, you will get a unique variant of the die that is functionally the same, but you cannot trade it with other players. So you can get means that are tradable through the venture coffers, or you can buy them on the MOG station. But obviously I don't recommend that, and we're going to talk about my favorite way to stock up on these dies that is a little less well known within the community. My favorite method of farming all of the exclusive and expensive dies is actually from Palace of the Dead again. This time we'll be looking at the silver sacks that can be acquired from floors 100 through 150 with a Pomander of Intuition. We talked about a gold making method on one of my previous videos, talking about the floors 151 through 200 gold sacks, but this time, on a much earlier floor, you can start gathering and farming these items much more easier than the other ones. The drop table is a little bit different, this time having some random filler drops of armor and other glamours that are worth a decent amount. I would say anywhere from like 20k to even up to like 300k, and they do sell. But the main thing we're after here are those pure white, jet black, and several other dyes that do sell for quite a bit. Whenever you're using a Pomander of Intuition, you'll have to activate it within Palace of the Dead, as well as finding the gold glow on the floor and activating it. Once you've collected the chest, at the very end of that set on Palace, you will get your silver sack. I don't recommend resetting your run once you get to floor 150, as floors 151 through 200 do give a decent item as well with those gold sacks we talked about, but the main thing we're talking about today is the silver ones. But I wanted to stress that even if you only get, say, 5 or 6 dyes that are pretty expensive in the here and now, once the dye channels is unlocked, these dyes are going to become far more contested and the demand is going to skyrocket. So I cannot stress enough how important it is to jump on this early and start building up your stores before all the prices are inflated. And that just about covers everything I wanted to talk about. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I stream full-time over at twitch.tv/AhriEffect if you'd like to come over and ask any questions. If not, feel free to leave them down in the comment section and I can give you a hand with those. I'll catch you on the next one, and bye-bye for now.